Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Capital Pathways Starting Line workshop. My name is Pınarçelik. I am the digital instructional designer at the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center. And of course, things not always go as you plan. I just lost my internet connection. I'm very sorry about that, but I will be on my hotspot. So that's why you are not seeing my video at the moment. But thank you for joining us today. For those of you who may not know, the NASDAQ Center is a nonprofit that is building a better path for entrepreneurs worldwide by improving inclusion, access, and knowledge in entrepreneurship. As you will see in the chat in a moment, the NASDAQ Center provides programs, resources, and exceptional mentorship to entrepreneurs across all races, industries, and geographies. Check out those links that my wonderful colleague Anna will be sharing with you and resources in the chat. Let us know where you are dialing in from in the chat as well. We would love to hear and learn about your locations. Secondly, we will open up a survey for you to enter your questions, so you can leave your questions with us throughout the session, about accessing capital, and we will be getting back to you. Since we will be covering a lot of content during this session, we would like to dedicate enough time to answer your questions as fully as possible after the session. None of what we do could be possible at the center without all of the amazing support from our sponsors, including NASDAQ, Lehigh University, Bank of the West, Airbnb, KPMG, Wilson Sonsini, Woodrow Sawyer, Microsoft Entrepreneurship for Positive Impact, BPM, and HubSpot for startups. We are very much humbled by their contributions and hope you are grateful too. Before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and launch a few polls to step back and take a temperature gauge on how all of you are doing today. We use this information to guide our wellness programs, and this would actually provide for our global community of entrepreneurs as well, so we can address your needs accordingly. So how are you feeling today? Anxious, surviving, optimistic, great. We are starting the summer, seeing more entrepreneurs feel great. What's keeping you up at night these days? Finance, sales, all right, scaling up. Well, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us. And without any further delay, please join me in giving the warmest welcome to my wonderful colleague, Kemi Taylor-Twiggs. She's our Director of Milestone Circles, and we will be doing this presentation for this session together. So I'll pass the microphone to Kemi. Kemi will take us through the first two parts of this presentation. Kemi.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Pinar, and welcome everyone. Welcome to the Capital Pathways Starting Line workshop. The Capital Pathways Starting Line is a new workbook at the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center. This workbook helps women entrepreneurs define a success for their business, plan accordingly in the short and medium term against those financial goals, and identify immediate capital opportunities that are the right fit for your business. At the end of our time together, you will be able to identify the ultimate success for your business and your business succession plan, address your current needs and challenges to prioritize your capital needs, and create the secret sauce for your company's growth code. And so before we jump into some of the activities that we have for you today, we're going to do a quick visualization. We're going to envision our work 5 years in the future. So I want to invite you to close your eyes, maybe slip your shoes off and ground your feet to the floor. And let's start breathing in slowly. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. In this moment, imagine in this space where you are sitting, it is now 5 years in the future. It is 5 years in the future. Your business is incredibly successful, beyond your imagination and exceeding every one of your dreams. Imagine walking through a business, your business, from morning to night, during the weekdays and the weekends. Imagine quarters and seasons of the year. Again, you are 5 years in the future, and think about what is happening inside your business. How is your business growing? What does your business look like? What does that growth look like? How does that growth feel? What sounds do you hear? How does it smell? As you look around, think about why you started this company. Think about that original motivation for starting this company. How is it now coming to life? As you sit in this space, you are now reminded that you have a wonderful, exciting succession plan that's right in view for your business, that brings you stability, calm, and the reward you seek. What is the succession plan for your business? As you sit in this space, I now invite you to travel 5 more years in the future. You are now 10 years in the future. Continue thinking about this succession plan. What does the succession plan look like for you as a founder? What does this plan look like for your business? Now, as we sit 10 years in the future, let's take another look at this dream business you are building. Take a deep breath, inhale and exhale. Now let's travel back to our 5-year dream business. Take another look around once more at that 5-year business in the future. Take another deep breath, release, hold on to that vision. And when you are ready, open your eyes and reflect on your experience. So I'm going to give you a moment to summarize or write down keywords and phrases, recording as much details as you can remember to describe your vision, and feel free to post it in the chat as well. Someone said, I can almost taste it. Yes. Mm. Someone saw something they never envisioned for their business. Yes. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Living happily. Very nice. All right. So now to further help us reconnect to our big vision, we need to understand our motivation behind our businesses. This is your North Star. We also want to be clear about our growth factors that are important to us. Think back at your vision of success in this earlier meditation. As a leader, what are the ways you grew your business from the starting line of today to the ultimate success you envisioned? So we're now going to launch a series of polls right now, but I want you to keep track of your answers. So pull out a sheet of paper, number it from 1 to 4, and I want you to write down your answers before you post it on the poll, okay? So here we go. Here is the first question, number 1. For this first poll, and it should be up on your screen as well. Let's think about our business ambitions in the long term. What is your ultimate goal? Is it passive income, supplemental income for yourself and family? Is it full-time equivalent income to support yourself and your family? Is it small business with some employees and or a physical location? Perhaps a medium-sized business with several employees and or physical location? Is it a large-scale corporation with a large employee base? Or is it a billion-dollar enterprise? Pay close attention to your inner self and dialogue as you are answering these questions. All right, so many of us here want billion-dollar enterprises. Very nice. Big dreams. All right, large-scale corporations, mid-sized businesses, nice. Small businesses, yes, yes. Full-time, yes. And passive income. Wonderful. All of these are great, great motivation factors that you have shared with us. Thank you so much. All right, here is our next question. Based on the succession plan for your business, what is your personal dream exit for your company? Is it to sell to another business owner in your community? To pass on to your children or someone else? Is it to be employee owned? To be acquired by another company? as an IPO and be publicly traded, a publicly traded company? Is it to run a large corporate business and stay privately owned? Or franchise and license? Okay, so here's our response. So most of us to pass on to children, then to be acquired by another company, franchise license, and then IPO, publicly traded, run a large corporate business, employee owned, and to sell business to someone in the community. All right, very nice. Number 3. Now, let's think about our time to exit our business and business flexibility. So based on the desired timeline to exit, do you want to exit in 1 year, 2 to 5 years, 5 to 10, 10 to 12, more than 12, or never? All right, so more than 12 and 5 to 10 years, and then never, and 10 to 12, 2 to 5, and no one has a year. All right, wonderful. All right, here's our last polling question. As you think about potential changes to your strategy in your dream state, which areas do you need to have flexibility over? What is the likelihood you may find your business changing structurally or strategically in the coming years? So do you see your company's formation structure shifting or changing? The pace of company growth or plan type of exit? Okay. So which areas do you need to have flexibility over? Pace of growth, company formation, plan type of exit. All right. So pace of company growth for the most of us, and then my company formation structure and the planned type of exit. All right. Well, thank you all for participating in this polls. Next, we are going to check our alignment with our success as a founder and our company success. So let's take a look on your screen. You'll find 2 separate columns. On one column, the first column on the left, you'll see it's the founder success vision. And on the right, you'll see the company success vision. What you want to do is take your answers and we're going to plug them in. So let's start on the left with founder success vision. So for motivation, you want to put your response to number 1 as the ambition plus number 4 as flexibility. So whatever you put for number 1, you'll put for the business ambition, and then for flexibility would be response number 4. So go ahead and plug that in. That will equal your motivation. You can do the same thing for your company's success vision. Number 1 for business ambition, and then for flexibility, number 4. So we're working on the motivation line all the way across at this moment, in this moment. All right. After you've completed that, we're going to move to the success vision. So your time to exit is your answer for number 3, and your succession plan is number 2. Okay, so put that all the way across. Time to exit is your response in question number 3, your poll number 3. And number 2 is your succession plan. And take a moment and reflect on what you've written down. Think about what are your thoughts and what has come up for you. Okay. Now, next, on a scale of 1 to 10, and we're going to put another poll up in a minute. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the least aligned and 10 being the most aligned, how well aligned are you as your founder success vision? How aligned is that with your company success vision? How do you feel that it's aligned? Just what your own reflections. Where are you now? Okay, so some of us you feel it's about half, about 5, and then 6 and 7. And so it looks like most of us feel as if they're more aligned. And then a few of us feel like we're at least aligned. That's okay as well. All right. So we are going to keep moving to our next exercise. We're going to talk about our current needs and pains. Oh, but before we do, let's go ahead and ask yourself, where is this misalignment coming from between the two? And go ahead and write down those questions as you wrote down those reflections earlier. You can go ahead and write those down in this alignment check as well. Taking a look at your responses, taking a look at the differences between your own personal success as a founder, as well as the same thing as a business, and see where you feel that there are misalignment, and then what questions you have and what could shift to bring those closer together. All right. All right, now we're going to move into our needs and challenges. All right, we're going to shift gears for a minute to talk about this. So we want to identify the needs and challenges we are currently experiencing as founders and for our company. What I want you to do is let me say this, when you write down, number 1, it does not need to be perfect. So I want you to jot down what comes to mind. It can be words, phrases, questions. It can be pictures if you would like. It also can be related to your senses. What does it look, feel, and sound? It's completely up to you. All right. You can tease out these details later, but right now we want to focus on getting these challenges out. All right. So we are going to begin with the first column, as a leader. What are your needs and challenges as a leader? What are your needs and challenges as a leader? So I'm going to give you about a minute to write them all down, all of the needs and challenges that come to mind. Put them down. What are your challenges that you're facing? What are you in need of? Put it all down there. So now let's do the same thing for your business. What are your top challenges that your business is facing? What's needed the most? What are you challenged with for your business? All right. You can put it on the chat. You can write your answers on the chat, but you can use the worksheets to fill in on your own, or you can just pull out a sheet of paper and write your answers down. So you just want 2 columns to identify your needs and challenges as a leader and your needs and challenges that you're currently experiencing with your business. If you want to put it on the chat, feel free to, or do you want to keep them? Because you're going to want to go back and reflect. Just jot it down somewhere. And the worksheets are available so that after this call, if you want to go and review these exercises, you may, of course, very well do so, and then reach out to us if you have any questions. All right. So now take a look at these 2 columns of what you have listed here. Evaluate your responses. What relationships are you seeing? We're going to talk about alignment now, alignment and misalignment between these 2 columns. What relationships are you seeing? Do you see anything that's the same or in common? Any correlations? Are there any things that are the complete opposite? Let's go ahead and start teasing that out on what's aligned, what's misaligned. Or there's a cause and effect that you're seeing. So just take a look at your responses, look at those 2 columns and see what you're finding as you're looking at them. Any insights that are coming up for you? Feel free to put in the chat any insights that you're recognizing by looking at the 2 columns. Michelle, thank you. Most of the business challenges stem from a few specific leadership needs. All right. Capital. Okay. I'm very aligned. They're almost congruent. Thank you, Patricia, for sharing. Time management, I have is directly related to the lack of proper systems. All right. All right. Very good. Very good. Thank you for sharing. bandwidth, connections, and support. All right. All right, so we're going to move on to our next slide. And some of you have written this already. So any cause of misalignment that you're seeing, what steps, and if you don't know, that is okay too. If that is totally okay. But if you do have an idea of what steps you want to take towards greater alignment, go ahead and note that as well. You may write down something that you want to explore or understand more that's going to help you with these needs as well. All right. All right, we are going to wrap up this section now, and in a moment, I'm going to pass it back to Pinar. But first, I have I'm going to give you a moment to reflect on a few questions, just to bring together everything that we've talked about so far. So what I want you to do is think about a couple of items, and I want you to write down any thoughts, ideas that you are holding on to. It could be questions, whatever it is, write it down. The first question that I have for you is your thoughts on achieving the ultimate business success for your business. What questions do you still have about that? What ideas or thoughts that you may have about that? Go ahead and write that down if you're still holding on to that. Next, any questions or thoughts or ideas that you may have about achieving the motivation behind your business or your succession plan? How are you feeling about that? And then the last question here is capital needed for your business. What questions, thoughts, ideas do you still have about your capital needs? And if you're seeing any themes in your answers, your responses, or any themes that are emerging from each of these exercises that we've done, go ahead and write that down as well. Maybe flip back through your pages or down your page. And if there's anything that continues to show itself, go ahead and write that down as well. All right. It's been my pleasure being with you for this moment. At this time, it's my also pleasure to introduce you or to reintroduce you to Pinar.
Thank you, Kemi. Thank you so much. I will take us to the end of this session by the next part. So in the last part of this presentation, we intend to help you create your secret sauce for your company's growth code. This will help you build a roadmap for your company's growth and provide you the tools that you may need along the way. Hopefully, that's our hope. At the beginning of this session, so far, what we have been doing, you have been envisioning your big vision and your vision for success. Now, let's start looking at some of the foundational concepts that will help you identify what your capital needs are, what you have, how much you need, and what action items you need to accomplish to acquire what you need. So Let's start with TAM. The TAM is total addressable market, is the total market you could serve with your product and or service. It represents the maximum revenue you could make in the long run if you captured 100% of the market. So theoretically, if you were the only player in this particular market, you will be getting the entire total addressable or total available market. While only a few startups enjoy monopoly in the market and or in their industry, monopoly is often a rarity. So when you have competitors in the market that you are addressing, you will have to share your total addressable market with the competitor. And the TAM that you are left with would be your market share. So startups with a lot of competitors will have to split their TAM with all of the competitors and thus have a smaller market share. So just for an example, assume for a moment that you are running an electric toothbrush company that is operating in the US. In that case, your TAM would be the global economic toothbrush market. So what SAM is, though, the SAM is a narrower measure than the TAM because you are still limited by, for example, the location of your company or specialization of your company. In a simple word, SAM refers to the precise target market for your product and or service. When comparing it with TAM, SAM can be defined as the part of the total addressable market offered to a business for serving that market. SAM is the market that you could actually reach realistically. This will become the market you are going to focus yourself on in the medium term. Where your TAM is, again, going back to our electronic toothbrush business example, when your TAM is the global electronic toothbrush market, your SAM will be the electronic toothbrush market in the US. More precise, more narrow target for your product and or service. Let's look at SOM, which would be the serviceable obtainable market. So the SOM can be used to attract the largest possible market in the short term with your current resources. By resources, you can think of your staffing, the money that you have, brand awareness, your location, your competition. So basically everything you have now, what's available or what you have to deal with. If you're a startup, you might not be able to penetrate the entire market. So in such cases, you can focus on the serviceable, obtainable market, in short, SOM, as your short-term goal. So your SOM will also serve as an interesting measure for investors to gauge your potential to progress and grow. While SAM is the electronic toothbrush market in the US, going back to our example, your SOM would be the portion of the electronic toothbrush market in the US that you manage to capture after taking your resources and your competitors in the US market into account. So all these three measures are especially important when measuring your potential to grow and earn profits. So coming back to the TAM, as you are realizing, we are taking a top-down or top-to-bottom approach, starting with your big vision. Now we are focusing on the TAM, your total addressable market. So let's come back to TAM idea. There are a few questions to ask yourselves when defining the TAM. So what are the industries that you will be selling in? Do you have an understanding of the characteristics of your current customers and potential customers? Where are your competitors located? What size are your competitors? And how is the market that you're operating has been growing? And what markets can you expect to grow in? So just pause here for a moment and think about these questions. You may not have answer to all of these questions, and that's perfectly okay. These are really the questions that you should be looking into, researching and learning more to understand the market, because you are the most important asset in your business. You know everything in and out in your business. So just looking from that perspective, from in to out, and understanding the market, understanding the characteristics of your potential customers will also help you set a new benchmark for your company's growth. So next, I will move us to do an inventory of your needs against your growth outcomes. We left the last slide with the question, what markets can you expect to grow in? And you also have been inventorying your needs in the chat area and while taking notes as well. So let's try to put them on a piece of paper so that after this presentation, you can have a documentation in your hands, and then you can start digging deeper and learning more about the capital optionalities that are available out there. So thinking about your growth aspirations in the next year, for one product and or service that you are offering through your business, where do you think your growth in customers will be coming from? Is it going to be an existing market? Is it going to be a new market or global market? Yeah, thinking about the very first polls that Kemi was administering, we have many businesses with $1 billion growth aspirations. So new market, global market, seeing those, not surprising. Are you looking for particular geographies within these new markets or in the global market? Now, let's bring our focus to your business. Thinking about your TAM, where are you going to find your next set of customers? And what are the outcomes you would like to achieve at the end of year one? I would like us to do the inventory against the 3 P's: people, process, product. For the intended outcomes, of course, this is not an exhaustive list, but it's just to provide you a starting point to think about your growth aspirations. So would you like to expand your location, expand of your product and services? Would you like to expand in geography? How are you thinking about increasing in value of goods, increase of average revenue per customer? And for all of these outcomes, think about how you will be achieving in your ideal world compared to people, process, and product. If you are thinking about expansion of location, will you be focusing your efforts into investing in people that you will be hiring, or vendors that you will be building new connections? Or do you think maybe combination of improving your processes and doing acquiring new customers, new suppliers, launching a new product in a new location? So just inventory what your plans will be in order to achieve these outcomes. Of course, not maybe everyone is familiar with these concepts. So when we are talking about people refer to your workforce mainly, but they could be on-site employees or remote freelancers in that case, but it also refers to all other relationships that you need to keep your business running smoothly. That will be including customers, vendors, suppliers, advisors, partners, and investors alike. The process will be a large-scale concept. It's the actions your business take to perform specific functions. And these could be delivering a service, creating a product, making a sales presentation, responding to emergencies, answering the phone, providing information to customers, or keeping track of supplies on hand. Okay. And then the product would be, of course, your product is what your business has to offer. If you are offering consultation services, I think I saw a couple of people posting in the chat, that would be your consultation services would be your product, for instance. It doesn't have to be always tangible. Your product could be also your brand and your image, which is the most visible part of your business. All right, next, let's move on and think about the next 5 years, going back to your big vision exercise at the beginning of the session. So this table just aims to bring everything together for you so that you can actually take this piece of paper and then put it on your table or put it on your wall while you are thinking about your next 5-year forecasting. And again, this is a lot to do in this limited time at the moment, but just thinking about what we have been tackling during this session, where your growth in customers will be coming from, what will be your average sales prices, what is the 10% that you would like to achieve year after year. You can just note them down here, and in the workbook you will also in the full workbook you will also find assistance in terms of how to calculate these numbers, but just we are taking a bird eye view for our plans and focusing on the big picture at the moment, so you don't feel like you are getting lost in the process or not being able to calculate all of these numbers at the moment. It's just that's something that you can do after this session. And if you have any questions or if you're having any challenges in responding any of these areas, please leave your questions in the survey that Anna is putting into the chat, and we will definitely get back to you individually and reach out. All right, for time's sake, let's move on to the last exercise. So after looking into that 5-year plan and your growth code, let's focus on the first year and then plan in little bit more detail. What are the actions that you would like to prioritize in terms of people, process, operations, and product that we just talked about? And then what will be your capital needs in order to achieve those? So again, going back to the idea of calculating TAM, SAM, SOM, those calculations will be giving you what you have in terms of the cash that you have in your hand and what you need in order to achieve your TAM goals and how much the difference in between. So if you can note down your capital needs against the people, process, and product actions that you are planning on taking for the first year, it will also help you guide your information acquiring process for different capital optionalities, which will be also included in the workbook that you can find on our website for different capital optionalities and learn more about them. All right, so at this point, I would like to prompt you to think about what are some of the questions you have. What do you need more clarity about? And how can this help you with your business? It's a lot to take in an hour, but like Anna mentioned in the chat, this recording will be made available at a later date, but we also have our starting line, Capital Pathways Starting Line Toolkit available on our website, and please don't hesitate to reach out to us via email or leaving your questions in the form. We will get back to you, and we will have also series of classes about different capital optionalities coming up. It will be listed, and you will have access to those through the newsletter as well. So just to, I hope this workshop gave you a little bit of a taste of what's included in the workbook and how you can go about the exercises, but there is much more to them in the workbook that you can find. There are a couple of tools that will be included, for instance, cash flow management, how tips about the credit, building credit for your business, and then a bunch of exercises about building network development, and also a lot of resources such as mentor makers and our flagship program Milestone Circles. We also have another program called Milestone Makers, and you can also find all the resources, all the previous courses that we offered at the center on our YouTube channel. You can reach out to us through different means on our website. You can be part of our community as well by joining our newsletter. So we would love for you to join us for our upcoming webinars. You can view the upcoming events by using the link in the chat that my colleague just posted. And I would like to thank you all so much for joining us today, doing this investment for yourself as a leader and for your business. We will be looking forward to welcoming you back online with us soon. Thank you all. Thank you, Kemi. Thank you, Anna.